Far off the northeastern coast of Australia lies a world unlike anything else on Earth, a place so vast, so vibrant that it can be seen from space. This is the Great Barrier Reef, the largest living structure on the planet, stretching across more than 2,000 kilometers of shimmering ocean. From above, it appears as a breathtaking mosaic of blues and greens, a masterpiece shaped by time and life itself. But the true magic of the reef begins beneath the waves, in a realm where sunlight falls like liquid gold, and ever below the surface lies an underwater kingdom built by more than 600 species of coral. These corals, each one a living organism, grow slowly year after year, forming enormous structures that rise like mountains from the seabed. Together, they create a city of color and texture, delicate branches, towering pillars, sweeping arches, all crafted millimeter by the tiniest architects of the sea. Within these coral walls, life thrives in extraordinary way. More than 1,500 species of fish paint the reef with movement and light. Schools of shimmering silver swirl in unison, scattering at the slightest shift of current. Tiny clownfish nestle within the soft embrace of sea anemones, protected by a partnership older than memory. Green sea turtles glide gracefully through the water, returning to these familiar shores generation after generation, guided by instincts that scientists still cannot fully explain. They move with a quiet wisdom, as if carrying the reef's ancient secrets on their backs. Among the giants of the reef are manta rays, drifting through the water like silent angels with wings spanning several meters. Beyond the coral frontier, humpback whales migrate along their ancient pathways. In these warm Australian waters, mother whales nurture their newborn calves, teaching them to breathe, to move, to live. It is a scene that reminds us of both the power and the gentleness of life in the ocean. For thousands of years, Indigenous Australians have honored this place as a sacred part of their culture. To them, the reef is not only a natural wonder, it is a living spirit, a story carried through generations. Today, millions of people from around the world travel here to witness its beauty, diving into a universe that feels untouched by time. Yet even a place as magnificent as the Great Barrier Reef is not immune to change. Warming oceans, storms, and environmental pressures have challenged the reef's resilience. Some corals have faded, weakened by shifting temperatures. But even in the face of loss, life continues to fight back. New coral polyps emerge, vibrant patches return. Scientists, conservationists, and communities across Australia work tirelessly to understand and protect this fragile world, ensuring that future generations may still witness its wonders. Because the story of the Great Barrier Reef is not simply the story of an ecosystem, it is a story of connection between land and sea, between past and future, between humanity and nature. It is a reminder of how delicate life can be, and how extraordinary it is when life thrives in harmony. As the sun sets over the ocean, golden light glides across the water, revealing the reef as a vast, living tapestry, one of Earth's greatest treasures. Beneath the twilight, the coral world continues to breathe, to grow, to shimmer in silence, a wonder shaped not by a moment, but by millions of years, a testament to the beauty of our planet. And now, our journey continues deeper into Australia, toward the ancient red heart of the continent, to Uluru. Deep in the vast interior of Australia, far from the blue coastlines and the fast rhythm of its cities, lies a world shaped by silence, heat, and unimaginable time. This immense region, known as the Red Center, spreads out like a boundless sea of red earth. The air grows drier with every step inland. The horizon widens into a perfect circle, and the land begins to speak in shadows and shifting colors. It is here, in this ancient desert, that Uluru rises, a monumental sandstone giant standing alone in the endless plain. At first, Uluru appears as a faint outline trembling in the heat, but as travelers move closer, its true scale becomes astonishing. It towers 348 meters above the desert floor, yet most of its mass remains hidden underground like an iceberg rooted deep into the continent. Uluru is far more than a single block of stone. It is a geological memory stretching back more than 500 million years, formed from ancient sand compressed under unimaginable pressure, later forced upward through tectonic shifts. Over ages, wind and rain carved valleys, ridges, caves, and sweeping curves into its surface. These formations catch the light differently every hour, making Uluru one of the most color-shifting landscapes on Earth. At dawn, it glows gentle pink, at midday it burns orange gold, and at sunset it transforms into deep crimson that seems to pulse with its own quiet fire. But Uluru's significance reaches far beyond its physical beauty. For tens of thousands of years, it has been the spiritual heart of the Anungu people, the traditional custodians of this land. To them, Uluru is a living ancestor connected to Chukurpa, often translated as the dreaming, though its meaning is far broader. Chukurpa explains creation, teaches moral law, guides relationships between people and nature, and shapes the identity of the Anungu. Every ridge, cave, and waterhole around Uluru holds a specific story. Some tell of creation ancestors who shaped the world. Others hold lessons about respect, survival, and harmony. These stories are not myths of the past. They remain active, alive, and deeply sacred. Within Uluru's caves, ancient paintings still endure. Their ochre lines depict ancestral beings, hunting symbols, and ceremonial marks passed down through countless generations. Standing before them, visitors feel the presence of history in a way that words cannot fully capture. The heat, the silence, the vast horizon all merge into an atmosphere where time seems to blur, and the connection between land and culture becomes unmistakable. Walking the 10-kilometer trail around Uluru reveals its many faces. One side may appear smooth and glowing under soft light. Another side, only a few minutes away, is rugged and steep, carved into dramatic forms that resemble frozen waves. Along the way, hidden in shaded folds of the rock, lie rare desert waterholes. Mutichulu, the most significant of these, is a tranquil pool that has sustained life for thousands of years. Its mirror-like surface reflects the towering red walls above as dragonflies skim and desert birds gather in the early morning. Even in one of the driest regions on Earth, Uluru creates pockets of life, a delicate reminder that survival here depends on deep respect for the environment. By midday, the heat intensifies. Shimmering waves rise from the ground, bending the horizon. The desert becomes a living blur of light and distortion. Yet Uluru stands firm, glowing with fierce brightness as sunlight exposes every detail of its stone. Some visitors find this moment challenging, others feel humbled by the land's raw intensity. Here, nature demands attention and humility. Every sound is carried away by the hot wind, leaving only the quiet presence of the rock. As afternoon approaches, the desert slowly changes mood. Long shadows stretch from Uluru's base, drawing dark lines across the red earth. The rock deepens in color, moving from orange to darker terracotta. Birds circle high above, their shadows gliding briefly across the glowing surface. Each passing minute brings a shift in tone, preparing for the moment when the desert reveals its most famous performance, the sunset. When the sun begins to drop, Uluru ignites. Its surface turns brilliant orange, then deepens into luminous crimson. The sky transitions from gold to violet, then to rich indigo, creating one of the most dramatic color displays in the natural world. For many, this moment feels almost spiritual. It is a scene the Earth has repeated for millions of years, witnessed by ancient ancestors and modern travelers alike. The experience leaves an imprint, the sense of standing before something eternal. After sunset, the temperature falls quickly. The desert becomes quiet, almost weightless. Stars emerge in the vast sky, forming a brilliant field of light. The Milky Way arches overhead while Uluru stands in dark silhouette, its presence powerful even in shadow. In this stillness, the land feels sacred, a reminder that some places hold stories deeper than history itself. Night at Uluru is a moment of reflection, where silence becomes a companion and the ancient heart of Australia seems to beat beneath the ground. With the first hint of dawn, a pale glow spreads across the plain. Uluru slowly reappears from the darkness, its form calm and majestic in the cool morning air. As the sun rises, the rock softens into warm hues and the cycle begins again. Unchanged for millions of years, yet new with every sunrise. Uluru is truly the heart of the Red Center, a place where geology, culture, and spirituality meet, a place where light transforms stone and where the stories of the Anungu continue to guide the land. For anyone who stands before it, Uluru is a reminder of the Earth's oldest memories and of our responsibility to honor landscapes that cannot be replaced. Chapter 3: Tasmania, the wild edge of Australia. Tasmania is a place that feels quietly separated from the rest of the world, an island of wilderness shaped by wind, water, and time, where nature has been allowed to remain exactly as it once was. When you first arrive here, something inside you slows down. The air feels cooler, the colors feel deeper, and the silence has a softness to it, like the island is gently inviting you in. As dawn breaks over Cradle Mountain, a pale mist drifts across the valley, wrapping the peaks in a silver veil. The light grows slowly, revealing rugged stone carved by ancient glaciers. There is a sense of stillness here that feels almost sacred. The lake below reflects the mountains so clearly that it looks like a doorway into another world. And in that reflection, you begin to understand the untouched beauty of this land. Walking along the boardwalk that curves around the water, you feel the crisp alpine wind brushing against your face. It carries the scent of eucalyptus and cold mountain air. Every sound, the distant call of a bird, the rustle of grass, seems amplified in this vast silence. Even the movements of a lone wombat grazing nearby feel like part of a gentle rhythm that has existed long before humans arrived. But Tasmania is an island of contrasts. Within just a short distance, the landscape shifts completely. The alpine plains fade into dense rainforest, a world wrapped in green. Moss covers everything: rocks, branches, fallen logs. The forest floor feels soft, almost alive. Tiny droplets of water cling to leaves, catching the faint light that filters through the canopy. Here, time feels slower. Every step invites you deeper, and the forest seems to breathe around you. Waterfalls appear unexpectedly, thin streams cascading over dark stone in quiet whispers. The sound of falling water mixes with the distant echo of birds, creating a harmony that feels impossibly peaceful. This rainforest is one of the oldest in the world, older even than the Amazon. And when you walk among its ancient trees, it's impossible not to feel a sense of awe. Eventually, the forest opens and the world changes again. Ahead lies one of Tasmania's most iconic views, Wineglass Bay. A perfect crescent of white sand curves around a bay of turquoise water. The Southern Ocean stretches far beyond the horizon, cold, powerful, and endlessly moving. Standing above the bay, you feel both small and uplifted, as though the world has just shown you something rare. The coastline continues to astonish at the Bay of Fires. Here, bright orange lichen covers the granite boulders, glowing like fire against the blue water. The waves crash gently, swirling white foam around the rocks. The colors are so vivid, so unexpected, that the scene feels unreal, as though the earth itself experimented with a new palette. When night falls, Tasmania transforms once again. The forests and hills that felt quiet by day awaken under the moonlight. Tasmanian devils venture out cautiously, their dark silhouettes moving through the underbrush. Wallabies pause and watch with bright, curious eyes. And above everything, a sky untouched by city lights reveals the Milky Way in breathtaking clarity. Under this canopy of stars, the island feels ancient and eternal. Tasmania holds human history as deeply as natural history. Old settlements stand quietly in the wind. Wooden cottages, weathered stone walls, stories of explorers and sailors and settlers who faced the harsh edges of this island centuries ago. But long before them, Tasmania belonged to its Aboriginal people, who lived with the rhythms of this land for thousands of years. Their stories, carved into stone and passed through generations, remain woven into the forests, the shores, and the mountains.
As you walk through Tasmania's wilderness, you feel these layers: the ancient, the recent, the living. The wind moving across the hills seems to carry all of it: memories, voices, beginnings, endings. And somewhere in that quiet, you feel connected to the island in a way you didn't expect. Not as a visitor, but as a witness to a place that is still wild, still real, still whole. And when the first light of morning touches the cliffs again, Tasmania awakens gently. The birds sing, the ocean breathes, and you realize that this island has given you something very rare in the modern world: space to feel small, space to breathe deeply, and space to remember how beautiful the earth can be when it remains untouched. Our journey now continues north, toward one of the most ancient ecosystems on the planet, where life older than dinosaurs still grows in the shadows of towering trees. Next, the Daintree Rainforest.
Chapter 4. Daintree, the oldest rainforest on Earth. There are forests, and then there is the Daintree, a place so old, so deeply connected to the beginning of life on our planet, that walking into it feels like stepping back into time itself. Here, in the far northern edge of Australia, nature has been growing, breathing, and evolving for more than 180 million years. Long before the first humans appeared, long before the dinosaurs vanished, long before continents drifted apart. And yet, despite the weight of time, the Daintree still feels gentle, welcoming, and profoundly alive. At dawn, the forest awakens slowly. Golden light drips through the canopy in thin, trembling beams. Mist curls around giant trunks and ancient ferns, moving as softly as breath. The air is warm and heavy with the scent of earth, leaves, and water, a scent unchanged for millions of years. Birdsong rises from deep within the green, each call different, each one a story of survival passed down through countless generations. When you walk into the Daintree, the modern world disappears almost instantly. The forest wraps around you like a living cathedral, its towering trees forming arches of shadow and light. Moss blankets every branch and stone, glowing emerald in the morning light. Vines twist and loop overhead in patterns that seem almost deliberate, as though the forest is weaving its own tapestry. And beneath your feet, the soft floor of leaves and soil gives way slightly, reminding you that this place is alive at every level. Mossman Gorge is one of the first gateways into this ancient world. Here, crystal clear water rushes through massive boulders carved smooth by centuries of movement. Sunlight reflects off the surface like tiny pieces of glass. For the Kuku-Yalanji people, this is a sacred place, a place of cleansing, healing, and connection. Standing beside the river, you can feel the coolness rising like a gentle breath, carrying with it a sense of peace that settles quietly in your chest. Deeper into the rainforest, the light grows dimmer. The canopy becomes so thick that only small pockets of sun break through, illuminating sections of forest floor like spotlights on a hidden stage. The trees here are among the oldest living species on Earth. Some carry DNA older than the mountains, older than human history itself. Their bark is rough and dark, scarred by storms and time, yet their branches stretch upward with unwavering resilience. This forest is home to creatures found nowhere else on the planet. A cassowary, tall, prehistoric, and impossibly elegant, steps out from the undergrowth, its blue and red feathers glowing like jewels. It watches you with ancient eyes before disappearing into the green once more. High in the trees, a rare tree kangaroo quietly moves from branch to branch, its fur blending perfectly into the foliage. Tiny frogs cling to leaves, their skin bright green and jewel-like. Even the insects here feel timeless, living reminders of the planet's earliest forms of life. Eventually, the rainforest leads you to the Daintree River, a slow-moving ribbon of dark, reflective water that hides mysteries beneath its surface. Saltwater crocodiles glide along silently, their bodies barely breaking the water's edge. Mangrove roots rise like twisted sculptures from the mud, creating a world where beauty and danger exist side by side. The river feels both calm and alive, like a heartbeat pulsing through the forest. And then, as you continue north, something extraordinary happens. The rainforest meets the sea. At Cape Tribulation, the ancient world of green touches the bright turquoise of the Coral Sea. It is a meeting of two landscapes shaped by different histories, the oldest rainforest on Earth and the largest reef system in the world, standing side by side in a harmony found nowhere else. Standing on the beach, you hear the whispers of the forest behind you and the rhythmic breath of waves before you. It feels almost unreal, as though the planet is revealing one of its most extraordinary secrets. Everything in the Daintree feels connected. The plants, the animals, the water, the wind, all woven together into a living system that has endured longer than any civilization. Many of the plants here are living fossils, survivors from a time when Australia was part of the ancient supercontinent Gondwana. When you look closely at their leaves, their shapes, their roots, you glimpse a world long gone, but still alive here, preserved like a memory the Earth refuses to forget. As rain begins to fall, the forest shifts instantly. Droplets slide down giant leaves, gathering into streams that race toward the river. Mist rises from the ground like a soft breath. The sound of rain on the canopy creates a gentle hum that surrounds you completely. The Daintree doesn't just absorb the rain, it celebrates it. Every plant seems to stretch upward, every leaf shimmering with renewed life. It is a reminder that life here continues not because it is easy, but because it is endlessly determined. At dusk, the forest glows with warm, golden light. Shadows grow longer. The calls of daytime birds fade, replaced by the quiet rustle of nocturnal creatures emerging. And when night finally settles, the Daintree becomes a world of deep emerald darkness, lit only by the stars above and the quiet pulse of life within the trees. Standing here, surrounded by a forest older than human history, you cannot help but feel small, but in the best possible way. Small because the world is vast. Small because life is ancient. Small because the Earth remembers things we have long forgotten. And in that smallness, you find something powerful, a sense of connection, a reminder that we are part of a much larger story. Now, as we leave this ancient green world behind, our journey continues south, toward one of Australia's most dramatic coastlines, where stone giants rise from the roaring Southern Ocean. Next, the Great Ocean Road.